All right, so the next step I want to show you is how do I add a radio button plot and control the color of my plot here. And so I'm going to go in and add that radio button group. So let's go grab that. There's a radio button group here, and it already has 3 buttons. Let's keep it that way. And so I want to change the button group title to be color because I want this to control the color of the line in this plot. So I'm just adding on to my code here. So I saved the new video app, but I'm building off the old one. And so I want the first button to be red, the second button to be blue, and the third button to be green. There we go. And so now how do I use that radio button group? How do I use that? Like what does it do? And so the problem is that I've got this color button group and the drop down actually includes 3 different things. So if you look at it, I can't really, based on this radio button, I can't just use that color button group to really do anything in my calculation because I need to check which one of these is enabled. And so now if I go back into this red button, I have this value check mark. But what does that do? That's really my real question. So if I uncheck that, now it's gone to blue and it's checked, and now it's gone to green and it's checked. And so what I need to really test is, all right, if this value button is checked, what exactly does that mean? And so I can just go and test that. The way I can test that is I can actually do something in my code to edit that. And so let's go in and make some assumptions. And then we'll test it like we're going to make a hypothesis, just basic scientific method, make a hypothesis and go and experiment it. And so my hypothesis is going to be that this value button is going to be like a logical, right? It's going to be a Boolean operation. It's going to be either 0 or 1 depending on which one of these is checked, which one of these buttons is checked. And so that means that if red is checked, I want to make my plot red. So now if I go to my code view, I don't have to really change or add any other callbacks. I don't want to add a callback that'll happen if this radio button is changed. I just want to set up which color I want my plot to be, and then hit plot, and then pull all the data like before, and change that color using that radio button group. And so let's go and test something. So I've got all of this, and so realistically what I would do is I'd go in and I'd say h.color is equal to red, right? As I can do is equal to red. I can do that. And so if I go and run this now, regardless of what button I press, so if I press blue here and I go in and I'll do 3.14 again, I'll bring my amplitude up to 30, this should be plotting a red plot. And it is, because I went in and hard-coded to change it to be red. And so what I want to do instead is I want to actually test this. I want to make sure I understand this properly. So like I said, my guess is that whichever one of these is checked is going to actually change the value to 1. And if you look, the state of the radio button, it says if I hover over value is either 1 or 0. Let's test that hypothesis. Let's go and let's do if app.red button, or let's test the blue one. .blue button dot value is equal to 1, then h.color should be blue. What I'm saying is that if the blue button is pressed, make the color blue. If not, make it black. I'm going to delete this h.color here. So this is just me testing one of these cases. So if I select the blue color and this value is equal to 1, then make my color of my plot be blue. Well, then if it's not, then make the color of the plot be black. And it's as simple as that. I'm just trying to test this. And so let's go and save it and run it. And so now I'm going to test it first with red. So blue is not selected, and so that means that my plot should be black. And it is. I didn't add any amplitude. Let's change that, go up to 30. All right, and so now my plot is black. If I change this to blue, let's check it. And look, it did change it to blue. Because, again, in this if statement, I have, well, if the blue button value is equal to 1, change the plot color to blue. Otherwise, make it black. So if I select green, it should be black now. Okay, so my hypothesis worked, right? My value of these button groups end up meaning that end up becoming either 1 if this radio button is filled for that choice, or 0 otherwise. And so what I can do now is I can extend this if statement. So I tested if app.bluebutton.value is equal to 1. I'm going to do else if app.redButton.value is equal to 1. Then I want my h.color to be red. And then I want to add another else if app.greenButton.value is equal to 1. And I'm going to change the color to be green. Let's just add an else case. If none of these work, if none of these are true, which shouldn't be possible, right? Because there's only 3 choices in that radio button. But just let's say if something doesn't work, and I want to test this. If something isn't working properly, I just want to change the plot to black. So if the plot's black, then it means that this radio button group isn't working at all. If that's just my control group, right, for my testing. And so let me click run, and we'll check it. So if I bring my amplitude up to 40, I change my color here to green, change my frequency to, again, pi, just to keep everything within bounds. And look, it changed it to green. So let me click red, plot, blue, plot. Everything's working as expected. And so that's how you add that radio button group. And so now you can go and finish the in-class problem. So in-class problem 2 was, I want you to do everything that I wanted you to do before, plot the parabolic equation from 0 to 5 using edit boxes for 1, -5, and 4. But now I want you to include a radio button to select the color of the line. I just showed you how to do that. So it should be pretty straightforward. And the way I want you to test this is I want you to put in these values. So 1 for A, -5 for B, and 4 for C. And if you get in, select black, and if you get this plot, you know you did it all correct. So you should have a way to check your solution once you're done. So go ahead, do that for in-class problem 2, and next time I'm going to show you another layer of complexity. And I'm just going to explain it to you now, and then I'll kind of start the next video with an explanation. So what I want to do is I want to change the color dynamically. When I change this button, I wanted to change the color of the plot. And so I'm going to show you how to do a global variable inside of this, create a property that you can now manipulate. But that's going to be for the next video.